Okay, let's be honest. This relationship is weird. It's just as weird as Jennifer Hudson's outfits, alright? I don't know if she wants to be Mary Poppins or she's in some type of Russian couture. Nothing matches with them. Not the outfits, not the direction of the camera they're looking at, or the musical choices. It's just...
It appears that Common must have seen our video because he tried it after round and discovered the hard way that Jennifer Hudson is not the right person to play with in his relationship. Remember how Jennifer and Common recently made their relationship public? Rumor has it that Common cheated on Jennifer with an unidentified woman after his lustful gaze already drew him into some lust. Jennifer flipped out on him, dragged him for dirt, and dumped him like a hot potato because she was not going to take that lying down. Yes, you are all correct. You must take a seat because Jennifer is not allowing him to get away with it.
I'm in a relationship that is one of the most beautiful people I ever met in life. And she's smart, she loves God, she has something real down to earth about her. She's talented, but I set my standard kind of high because she had to have an EGOT. She had to win an Oscar on her first movie. I set my standard high. She had to get her own talk show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
Even though Common is in a serious relationship with Jennifer Hudson, it appears that he has been killing it around town, or at least we believed it to be a dedicated partnership. Rather, it appears that Common was acting like the playboy that his fans have always accused him of being, and Jennifer was the only one who was being dedicated. I realize now that it sounds awful. To be honest, though, Stevie Wonder might have predicted this from the start because, considering Common's past relationships, it is not shocking that he is now being accused of cheating on Jennifer. I must now state that it should be illegal for him to cheat on Jennifer Hudson, the EGOT winner, as there is no reason to do otherwise. She is one of the most gifted women in the world and an actual EGOT winner. Therefore, it is kind of crazy when Common does her dirty. She was meant to be loved by Common. She was out on the line after turning her back. Now, I am not attempting to victimize Jennifer or anything, but many of you fans warned her. Tiffany Haddish, Common's ex-girlfriend, even went above and beyond to try to convince Jennifer of Common's character. Because she was still in love with Common and did not like that he had moved on to someone else, she was supposedly being a hater and criticizing the new relationship. You see, Tiffany began making disparaging remarks before Jennifer or Common even came out and publicly acknowledged their relationship. We just heard a few unsubstantiated, juicy gossip rumors here and there on the rumors that they were dating. However, she was also attempting to alert Jennifer to the fact that Common was a common playboy who would ultimately cause her harm. And if we are being completely honest, Tiffany had already had her heart crushed twice by Common, so she was definitely in the greatest position to warn Jennifer about what she was getting into. Not to mention all the shady things he did to her during their time together, and the fact that he did not always treat her the way she desired. Tiffany has always hoped that Common is the right man for her, and she worked hard to make sure he felt the same way. They fell in love in 2019 while working on the film The Kitchen, and Tiffany fell in love before the film was finished, when she tried to make him love her the way she wanted him to. Now, because it could appear that it is Common's MO, let us wait a moment. Common understands when and how to turn up the riz, as you are well aware. It did not take long for Tiffany to feel deeply in love with him, but he abruptly ended their conversation and decided to reconcile with his former partner, Angela Rod. Tiffany was devastated by this since she believed she had a good relationship going on, but Common did not share her feelings and did not feel her the way she felt him. As she dealt with the reality that she had been played, Common was not known for maintaining relationships, and it was only a question of time until things with Angela also fell apart. As it happens, Tiffany did not have to wait long because Common broke up with Angela within a few weeks. At the end of the day, Tiffany's lengthy suffering paid off, although Common quickly turned back to Tiffany after splitting with Angela, and you can bet your bottom dollar that she said, yeah, she is ready, right away. She took him back and fell in love with him again without trying to put on a front or make him work for it. They initially attempted to implement the privacy concept, but when the lockdown occurred and they were placed in quarantine together, it quickly went awry.
You're not got in. Get cut off, and you want his brother teeth.
Prior to his official engagement with Tiffany, Common had a lengthy history of relationships with other women. It did not go very well. I mean, this man dated Erykah Badu, Taraji P. Henson, Serena Williams, and a few other ladies I will not name. It is noteworthy to note that he is not particularly friendly with any of his ex-partners, particularly Miss Erykah Badu, despite the fact that he was alleged to have cheated cheated on them all. To put things in perspective, Erica and Common began dating in 2000 and dated for 2 years, before Erica ended the relationship in late 2002. Erica first refused to discuss the split in great depth, and he scolded her, claiming that she had dumped him over the phone because she had developed affections for someone else. He stated, "She handed it to me. I was in my hotel room on tour. She called me and was like, 'Hey, I don't want to be in this relationship anymore.' I'm like, 'It's somebody else.' That was my first love and my first heartbreak. Erica Badu, that was my first love. When you just open and float." He said, "When we split, I was 27 or 28. I was in a haze, just going through the motions. It was hard to eat. I guess I will see you in the next lifetime," Erica said. No animosity. Erica, however, had had enough of him portraying her negatively and sharing his sob story from his perspective. Finally, she made a suggestion that the separation was caused by some adultery. "I said," she said, "no, infidelity is not a deal breaker for me. We're all born sexual beings. I myself am not someone with a very high libido. I don't require intimacy for happiness. I need companionship. I need a partner I can depend on, that I can love and grow with. But I do understand the nature of these men I've been with, and men in general. They have the need to change." Despite the fact that he was accused of cheating on Erica, he attempted to blame her for the breakup by accusing her of falling in love with another man. Talk about manipulating others. Erica was the one who suggested that Tyrone should be called. I mean it when I say that this man has a horrible reputation. However, he made an effort to improve his reputation after splitting from Angela by claiming that he had attended treatment and was prepared to be a better partner, among other things.
You have a rather famous relationship coach.
Oh yeah, yes, Michelle Obama. She has definitely helped talk me through just certain moments of relationships. We had conversations, and she has given me a lot of wisdom. But one great thing that she told me as I was going through this journey was that you have to understand you're not going to get anybody that's perfect because you're not perfect. So understand that there's some certain things that you will compromise in choosing that partner. But as long as the core values, the values that are most important to you, that person, marks off on that list, then you good.
She gave you some good advice there.
That's good wisdom.
That was some really good wisdom.
He had already emotionally checked out of the relationship by this point, but Tiffany had not really gotten the message, so he dubbed her like a hot potato. However, he slightly fabricated the story to avoid appearing to be the villain in the split, just like he did with Erica Badu. He attempted to portray it as a mutual breakup, claiming that both of them had busy schedules, rather than admitting that he had grown bored with Tiffany.
Once Tiffany and I got back on the move, it really didn't allow for us to spend as much time and put as much energy into our relationship. I don't think the love really dispersed. I just think it was just like we weren't feeding the relationship.
He was doing everything he could to avoid being the bad guy, but that did not work out because Tiffany was not going to keep quiet about what actually happened. She made the decision to share her side of the tale, stating that he broke her heart. She also did not hold back when speaking, saying he might be the type of person that never really settles down with somebody. Maybe he's like, like a bee going from flower to flower to flower. I don't know. I wish him nothing but joy and happiness. She has subsequently continued to speak on Common, though, so she did not stop there. I was telling the truth when I said that she would be the ideal person to inform Jennifer Hudson about Common's character. Now, Common and Jennifer were in the same circles in Hollywood prior to their relationship. They have also been acquainted for years, according to a source who knows them. Things took a romantic turn while they were filming in Philadelphia over the summer. When the day's shoot wrapped, they'd always find their way to each other's side. Naturally, Jennifer attempted to be subtle by stating that individuals make up their own stories about it. He portrayed my husband in the movie we shot together. Between those instances, we were able to eat. However, it became more difficult for them to deny it once they were seen out on a date in Malibu following the completion of the filming. For her musical, A Strange Loops premiere, he even took a plane to London. An insider claims that there has been speculation for months regarding whether or not they're together. But the fact that they've traveled all the way to London together just shows they're very much an item. They arrived at the show individually to avoid any commotion, but away from prying eyes, they were very much in each other's company.
Are you dating anyone?
So, yes, and I'm in a relationship that is one of the most beautiful people I ever met in life. And she's She's smart. She loves God. She has something real down to earth about her. She's talented. But I set my standard kind of high because she had to have an EGOT. She had to win an Oscar on her first movie. I set my standard high. She had to get her own talk show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Then, rumors began to circulate about how their relationship was becoming somewhat strained, and this is when things started to go south for them. It began when Tiffany Haddish disclosed that, despite the passage of 2 years, she was still in pain from the separation. She said, it was the healthiest, the funnest relationship I ever had. It's where I felt safest out of all the relationships I've ever had. The breakup wasn't mutual. It was more him saying, I think this relationship has run its course. And I was like, okay, like you going to be a 50-year-old single man? Okay. Since the man in question already had a new partner, people began to recognize the common denominator and gave her the side eye for discussing a relationship that ended 2 years prior. People were sick of listening to Tiffany talk about it, and it was becoming an obsession. However, it turns out that Tiffany was being honest when she said that he was not the typical lover boy he posed as since he was still the same old guy. According to recent reports, Jennifer has discovered the person's personality the hard way, and their relationship appears to be in serious jeopardy. Common has reportedly been taking steps to formally establish a relationship with Jennifer, settle down, get married, and do other things, since she believes he may have been unfaithful to her. According to an alleged insider, after her engagement went south, Jennifer was adamant that she would never marry, that it just wasn't in the cards for her. But then Common came into her life and swept her off her feet. Common tells Jen despite his past with so many famous women, he's in a relationship for keeps. But Jen felt that way when she was engaged for 9 years, and she doesn't want to end up with a broken marriage and be back at square one. Here are some brief insider notes about Jennifer's failed engagement to wrestler and New York finalist David Otunga, as well as how toxic their relationship became when she attempted to end it. Because of how poisonous the relationship was, Jennifer has not really dated since, until recently, as far as we know. It follows that she would be extremely selective about the guys she chooses to marry. In 2007, a mutual friend met Jennifer and David Otunga, who quickly bonded and began dating. Less than a year after they began dating, in 2008, they became engaged because they were so in love. Although it happened rather quickly, they were eager to start their old family because they were in love. Jennifer was plunged into a nightmare after her mother, brother, and nephew were all killed by their brother-in-law. She became pregnant that same year, and she was beginning to recover from the nightmare when they welcomed their son, David Jr., in 2009. Rumors began to circulate, though, that the relationship was not as ideal as it appeared. Claiming to be waiting for justice for the murders of Jennifer's mother, brother, and nephew, they repeatedly postponed the wedding. They said, that was something that was hanging over our heads for so long, and now we feel like we can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Everything is good. However, supporters began to observe some serious red flags, such as David's apparent insecurity, and realized it was clearly an excuse. You see, he did not like that Jennifer was becoming too popular and attractive as she rose through the ranks of Hollywood, taking greater care of her appearance and clothing. Before she became so tiny on the inside, he preferred her when she was really hefty. However, Jennifer alluded to this in an interview by asking, "What does your fiancé think? Does he like the new svelte you?" Jennifer responded, "He's getting adjusted to it. He's not really into change that much. So he fusses at me like, why do you have to get all dressed up to go out? Why can't you just go out like you used to?" And I'm like, I'm a walking billboard, honey. They finally parted ways permanently in 2017, and boy did things get bad. Jennifer does not like to get involved in messy drama, as you are all aware. She asserted that David betrayed her when the relationship began to deteriorate, calling him a horrible father to their son and a bad partner to her. She accused him of domestic violence, claiming that he had become aggressive, threatening, and physically and psychologically harassing her, according to court documents that were leaked. It did not end there either. She claimed that his claims against her were no longer reasonable because he was so crazily envious. David and his attorneys started defending him right away, claiming that Jennifer had been having affairs with half of Hollywood's men, and that is why she became so well known. Claiming that he was the one who cheated on her, Jennifer refuted the allegation. Furthermore, he became so envious of her success that he took advantage of his kid in an attempt to persuade him to spy on Jennifer. Jennifer claims that when David began sending her extremely frightening messages whenever she was at the studio, things became worse. Furthermore, the texts were so offensive that she had to summon security because she was afraid he might show up at the studio and start a fight. David refuted these claims, claiming that Jennifer was attempting to portray him as the antagonist in order to win her followers' sympathies. According to his attorney, he denies each and every allegation Hudson has made against him, and that at no time did Mr. Otunga physically push Miss Hudson, as she has alleged in. In addition, Jennifer accused him of attempting to manipulate her mind through mind games as a means of control. For example, he allegedly played mind games with her by leaving a gun on the kitchen table and tampering with her head. And I will not lie, this was really problematic because I had already had some severe trauma related to firearms. I mean, gun violence claimed the lives of her mother, brother, and nephew on the same day. Therefore, it was quite sinister that he was supposedly attempting to damage her skull with a gun. Once more, David's legal team reframed the incident by claiming that the gun was merely a phony prop he had used for a tryout. They also said that when Jennifer saw it, he told her this, but she still freaked out. Jennifer, however, has consistently maintained that it was a crude form of intimidation, a means for him to play with her mind without speaking. David's attorneys have now issued a statement stating Mr. Otunga has never abused or harassed Miss Hudson or their son, and it is very unfortunate. And it is unfortunate, especially in today's climate, that she would feel the need to make these false allegations against him. Mr. Otunga looks forward to his day in court and in being awarded the residential care of the party's only child. Additionally, he asserted that Jennifer was fabricating these allegations in an attempt to gain sympathy for him as an unfit parent in order to obtain custody of their baby. His attorney stated he has never abused or harassed Miss Hudson or their son. The attorney continued by asserting that David had spent weeks attempting to work out the conditions of a cooperative parenting arrangement with Jennifer, and that the singer and actress were attempting to gain an unfair advantage in the custody dispute by filing her order. The lawyer added that David looks forward to his day in court and in being awarded the residential care of the party's only child. Jennifer's cautious approach to her relationship with Common can be explained by the hot disaster that was their romance. She claims that her fiancé cheated on her previously, and she is not going to make the same mistake twice. An informant claims that Jennifer believes Common has a great deal of arrogance to cheat on her, and then popped the question as if it did not matter. It is difficult to hold her accountable for this, and I do not mean to be judgmental or anything, but Common is not exactly known for being committed to his partners, and an insider claims that Jennifer Loki thinks that is why he became suddenly fixated on popping the question. He is trying to keep her from leaving him because of his infidelity. The people on the streets have been urging Jennifer to run, and they adhere to the proverb, at the end of the relationship, I said she should keep stepping or keep her feelings in her pocket. Sounds like Common is a good sign, but also a heartbreaker. I think she is wise to proceed with caution. I think Jennifer Hudson should keep her guard up and her eyes 93 open when it comes to Common. I don't think he is as upstanding as he tries to seem. It's just something about him. It's 2024, so who knows what will come out or happen. And I'm definitely glad she's wide awake, 93, and knows what she's truly dealing with. Smart lady, please share your opinions in the comment section below.